Welcome to Subramani. Today I'm going to talk to you about DIY investors, and it may take two slots. So could be maybe the next one also could be talking about the DIY investors. So many people think that by becoming a DIY investor, the biggest thing is they're saving money on the advisor's fees. There is no doubt that that is the biggest saving, that you're saving money on advisor's fees. Now compare this to what all you're supposed to do if you were a DIY. I'm not saying all advisors are capable of doing this. Maybe many advisors are themselves not capable of doing this. One, you have to know yourself pretty well as to whether you will do the rigor of comparing your actual portfolio with where it is going, whether you will be able to meet your goals, etc. I'm not even saying comparing yourself to other funds and things like that you may or may not do. However, given the situation of the Indian mutual fund industry, when somebody comes out with some esoteric fund, they charge quite a premium for that, right? So when the other competitors come at lower cost, you may have to shift to a lower cost fund house. I mean, there are index funds where there is a huge pricing difference. There are overseas funds with pricing difference. You need to be comparing and saying, should I shift? Should I do those kind of things? Now, this is after the funds have been chosen. Now, before that, ask yourself, will you do this? Second, do you understand portfolio construction? I have not met any DIY who understands portfolio construction. Yes, he would have picked up a lot of shares, or she would have picked up a lot of shares which are doing well, but they have no clue as to how much they have to pick up and whether it fits into the overall theme. Now, if you do not know that, you need somebody to construct your portfolio. It need not be a human being, but it has to be some method by which you are able to do it, or you have to do it yourself. If you don't know how to do it, you could go completely wrong with sizing of your portfolio. So again, that is not something which people know. Third, it means a lot of Sunday afternoons or Saturday afternoons have to be spent in checking out what is happening, explaining to your family what is happening, because this is likely to be, especially if you have direct equity, this is likely to be a more complicated portfolio than a mutual fund portfolio, assuming you have 3-4 mutual funds. If you have 20 mutual funds, again, you don't have clarity, and therefore you will not be able to pass on the complexity to your family. So your family will not be able to handle it if you are not around, right? So ultimately it has to create wealth for the family even when you are not there. That is the purpose of creating a portfolio. Then what is the point in saying I'm financially independent, but if I die, my family will not be financially independent, because they do not know how to manage this complex portfolio, right? So if you think you do not have a complex portfolio, ask your wife, because she is the one who is going to manage it after you're no more. And if she says it's complicated, her decision is final. Don't argue about it, because I know a man who is about 65 years of age who has a complicated portfolio. He's got real estate, he's got REITs, he's got direct equity, he's got equity mutual fund, he's got bonds, he's got bond funds, he's got artwork, and he's got some real estate given out on rent in 2-3 cities, and he tells me it's not a complicated portfolio. I have no clue whether he has had the discussion with his wife, because I'm sure he's not having the ability to talk to her and say, will you be able to manage this? And I'm sure that she will not say yes to 90% of this portfolio. Maybe the art portion she might, because she could understand that. Maybe some of the mutual funds she might, but a lot of the other things she's very unlikely to, especially when there is no need to, right? Now, if you do not understand portfolio construction, if you do not understand the rigor, you do not understand the rigors of income tax. I found a recent DIY portfolio of a senior citizen. He must be 65, 66. Every scheme of his was under the dividend option. Why had he done that? He had no clue, because he said, I think it's very simple. Why I did it? I need regular dividends. He had no clue how much of tax he was paying on his own capital which he was withdrawing. So you have to understand portfolio construction. You have to understand why you're picking up a particular fund or a particular share. You have to understand its income tax implication, right? Only when all these things meet and you have the time, right? For somebody who has the brain power to understand all this, he has to have a fantastic job which allows him to give 10 hours or 12 hours a week to do things like this, which means it's like having a proper job and having enough time for a side gig, right? If you do not have that, if you are a sales head of let's say FMCG, need not be HUL but any FMCG, and you are coordinating between distributors and your sales team, etc., etc., you will not find 10 hours to look after your portfolio. You will just not. Yes, you can put it on autopilot by buying an index fund, but DIY people will not do it so simply. They love to have a complicated portfolio. Now, if you do not have the ability to find out where you are in this investment journey, maybe you need help, maybe you do not need help. That's fine, that's up to you. I am not offering any help, so in case you think I'm offering help, I'm not offering. So let me look at some of the things which I had written in the past about why DIYs underperform, and I'll have to read from some of the past writings, so bear with me. Largely, the poor performance is also because they have taken it over from somebody, from their parent or something like that, or from a previous IFA, and then they have gone ahead and they have not made all the changes which they should have made. They have just done the shifting to direct and wondering now what next to do. So first, as I said, is the psychology that DIY investors think, oh, I'm so well qualified. Maybe I'm a doctor, maybe I'm an engineer, maybe I'm a chartered accountant. So understanding this is not very difficult, right? So they think they can time the market very well. So I know one DIY investor, and I know IFAs also, who when the second wave hit, they again sold. And their logic is, oh, March 2020 the market came back so quickly, but now it is going to be worse after the Bengal election, and there will be a lockdown, which means anyway today tomorrow types, and therefore the market will crash. They know it, they know their timing is perfect, and that's what they do, and they get it wrong disastrously. If you make such a mistake even once or twice in your investing life, all the so-called alpha that you could have got is completely lost because of your behavior, right? And also I find many DIY investors completely coming out of equity and completely going into equity. I don't see this all or none game at all. I've never played this all or none game. I play shades of grey. Whereas individual DIYs are likely to play black and white. They say, oh, the market is doomed, so let me buy or let me sell. The market is going to go up, so let me buy. You can be completely wrong. I remember when Narendra Modi came to power in 2014, I sold all my PSU portfolio, completely emptied it, because the market was euphoric as to what magic he is going to work on the PSUs. After that, when the fund managers started buying, I said, okay, this is a good time to look at it. And that was the time I was buying. Then when I saw that ETF sale is happening for companies like Coal India, Larsen & Toubro, ITC, and the ETF sale could be very easily used as an arbitrage to buy the ETF and sell the share. I sold out of Coal India somewhere in the 300s. ITC was partially cleaning up my portfolio, and the fact that it was going to be sold through ETFs. Larsen & Toubro I did not sell much because I realized that the UTI did not have too much of Larsen & Toubro. LIC had more, so there was a good chance that LIC would buy it. But with all the others, the amount of sale pressure that the government created on these shares have still not recovered anywhere near their past price, right? ITC fell from 330 to 170. And Coal India fell from 300 and odd to about 110 or 120, and it is still languishing at that price, right? So that is what damage can do. So understanding all these small subtle implications is not going to be very easy for people especially for DIY, because they don't even know where to seek such information. And the fact that you are a good stock picker does not mean you're a good portfolio creator. You may not be able to create a nice balanced portfolio like the Sensex or like the Nifty. So I've given you a hint how to make it. Go ahead and make it. right? That's very important, that if you have to put through the process